Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Christopher Michael Curtis Bone, on this evening edition of Five Liberty, leading this brilliant, excellent, brand new, excellent age of transcendent renaissance through the golden age, and into and well beyond it, of course, into this age of enlightenment, co-creating a multifaceted, very beautiful, transistical, magnificent, not only co-creative, expanded, multifaceted universe, well beyond into a type 696 civilization, which is 10 to the power of 6,690, 6,966 watts. Excuse me, which is a lot of energy to be able to, of course, not only add more beautiful, super energetic aspects of type multiples of type 400 civilizations, or multiples of type 400 civilization energy auras, which is already embodied in the even sub 100 civilizations, which is of course a very grand, very positive, very excellent feat and condition and fruition, which, to say the least, is a very, 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 very grand, very positive, and very miraculous change in a very, very evanescent way. And this evanescence, of course, of this creationalistical nature, not only being in the ability of to manifest in a very true, unique art form, of course, which has many of its foundations, or has many foundations in its limitless or root forms of where, for example, the soil is, but also where the stem, and of course the personification of the leaves, the base, as in like the base of a plant, like a plant, root, stem, trunk, xylem, etc. More specifically, and really this is just a really beautiful, magnificent idea. Just to humbly put it out, is of course the blueprint of a magnificent type of not only golden city, even though that's one of the grand evanescent designs, which is one of the most unique things about, of course, a city of light. One of the unique things, of course, the spiritually advanced people, the magnificent, huge, for example, massive, it's can be created. However, one of the designs, which is of course a very important design, or which is just one of the explanations, which is actually being made and created. Blueprinted, designed, made, and created, and of course, with the acceleration of spiritual enlightenment, and then, of course, which has already been going on, which is going on, and the enhancement of just creationalistical powers of just, for example, spiritual prowess, is the ability to manifest, of course, this 1 to 2 to 3 to 400 foot golden gate, crystal gate, very thick, very high, made of perhaps just gold and diamond and metals in general, but shining metals. But most likely, the idea, of course, is the point to have it radiate, shine in the day, with, of course, glittering rainbows all around, without necessarily the need of water, and also to ultimately resonate in that frequency during the night, with that glow of that crystalline, or that crystal glow, or that with Livingstone. So Livingstone is already one of the main functions of what runs the top of, for example, runs the top of the pyramid in Telos. Of course, Livingstone is one of the many different actual energy sources and actual, beaming forms of light and illumination that can be used and has been used. It's actually found on Venus, on that planet, and of course I mentioned many times the many different types of contacts and different types of communications and meetings and different, well, not necessarily different, but the various connections between that we of course always have between that planet, and of course all planets in our solar system, and of course with planets throughout our galaxy. Oh, and that's of course a reiteration. It's the same type of reiteration of the location, for example. Not that it's the same, but at the same time it has that. This is all positive and unique and very a key understanding of not only enlightenment but our own spiritual evolutionary growth. Of course, with never-ending positive, blissful thoughts towards one another, especially just being enlightened enough to be able to understand that aspect, to grow into that developmental area of that already preconceived understanding of that limitless nature which already exists in our embodiment, which, yes, is different than the already understood personification of what ideas come from or stem from, or where some of the originality originates, which is ultimately from the mind, which originality originates any type of new idea, foundation, landmark, creation idea, standing or foundation to rise up, to plant up, to be positively, uniquely, peacefully, and responsibly aware, and of course enlightened in the understanding of what it means to not only be aware of our, of course, it is universal. I was going to say galactic. The galactic birthright, which of course is known, or birthright is galactic citizens, but of course our universal birthright is universal creators, and of course our journey, of course, goes well beyond, goes forever, ultimately. So the very magnificent, unique thing of what it means to design, for example, this blueprint of this specific type of golden city, or city of light, or crystalline city, which is of course stemmed from an idea, which not only stems from the understanding of, for example, that higher vibrational realm, which actually already exists, to be honest, fifth dimensional reality. This, for example, is said to be in third density or fourth density, or a lot of the psychic abilities and mental abilities and superpowers per se, or super mind abilities are, for example, that realm per se of fourth dimensional reality. But of course, fifth dimensional reality, and of course, there's well more beyond that. And then that's one of the very admirable duties, responsibilities. I guess it could be a duty, but there's an even better word, just hobby, even, or interest. So, brilliant crystal cities of light, and then just being able to, for example, walking in a city of light where, well, first of all, colors are perceived. Even though this understanding is already known, colors of what reflects off the golden or crystalline structures or buildings or emanations, what it does, or one of the things that it does, which is a very beautiful, unique characteristic of, is because there's so much reflected light, for example. Just for example, if when it's in the sun, it's rainbow. So that's what is on the body, and that's just one really cool, unique aspect. And of course, there's many different understandings of what happens when water is connected, and just in general, the limitless amounts of ideas that stem from that limitless or the limitless potentials of crystal, and of course those crystal cities, and of course the designs that come with all of the different types of new materials that can be developed, or the new ideas, and etc., from all sorts of facets. And yes, it is key to know some of the more specific parts, which would be just one of the and that's the part of the major part of just agricultural design in general: Baroque, Romantic era, Renaissance, Roman, Greek, American. Every single thought form of that design is not only forming a new sort of, which is one of the broadcasts I mentioned ages ago. Well, not necessarily ages ago, but it's still important. But still moving forward is not only a new Atlantis, but just a very grand, unique, united, unified world, which is not only what we already have, but of course expanding well beyond into an even faster, grander, more beautiful, more grand, more accelerated, more bright, and just absolutely more sovereign, glorious, fruitionalistical, creationalistical design of this Enlightenment era. This is your host, Christopher Malcolm Bone, in this evening edition of Fire for Liberty on the 15th of August 2017. Love you all.